So today I want to talk about how much money I made from my first single family home that I bought back in 2017, and I want to break down the numbers. So, as I said earlier, I bought this in 2017 for $825,000. I put 10% down, and my interest rate's around 4%, and I bought for 825K, so I put about $83,000 down roughly. And pretty much when I first started off, I was house hacking the property. So let me break down the house hacking numbers first, and then I'll show you what it is as a long-term rental second. So, as a house hack, roughly my all-in expense with property tax, insurance, mortgage, principal, interest, HOA, utilities was roughly around $4,500 a month, and I was getting around $3,200 a month from my tenants. I rented out each of the three rooms, so basically I was living in the master bedroom for roughly around $1,300 a month there. And then when I moved out of the property, I decided not to continue the house hacking model. I decided to rent it out as a long-term rental, and I got roughly around $3,700, and my rough all-in cost was around $4,200. So initially, I was actually cash flow negative, roughly $500 a month, and I was okay taking that hit because I worked a full-time W-2. So actually, I was roughly negative cash flow $500 a month. That's including I'm self-managing the property, so I'm not paying a property manager. And if there was, let's say, some maintenance issue, I'd cover it. So let's just make it simple, including that, probably about $600 negative cash flow a month. And I was able to take that because I was working a full-time W-2 as a pharmacy director, right? So that's what's nice about keeping your W-2. So during COVID, when interest rates dropped down, I refinanced this to a lower interest rate of 3.125%, and that lowered my monthly payment by about $400. So I went from negative $600 a month in cash flow to roughly negative $200 a month in cash flow, including some maintenance. So kind of did that, and then over time, once the lease renewal's up, I raised the rents by about $200. So I'm kind of breaking even on the property now, including maintenance. So but I'm self-managing the property, right? Typically, you're going to pay a property manager 8 to 10%, and I'd be cash flow negative. So on that first rental property, I break even. But what I want to show is there's other ways to make money from real estate, right? So the first method is appreciation, right? So fortunately, I bought it at a good time in 2017. No skill, just luck, in my opinion. But bought it in 2017 for 825K. It's probably now worth about $1.3 million. So roughly, I made around $500,000 or $500,000 of equity. Pretty much not doing much, right? Like I said, I think this is kind of lucky because this property's in Livermore. It's in the Bay Area. There's a lot of high income earners there, so it just went up, naturally through some market appreciation. So I made about $500,000 there, and then roughly, so my monthly, I think, loan payment is roughly around, I want to say it's like $3,000 a month, and about 1,000 of it goes to principal, 2,000 goes to interest. Roughly, this is a huge estimation, but if 1,000 goes to my principal, that's basically equity towards me. So every year, I made about $12,000 in equity in principal pay down, right? So if you do 12 times, I owned this for about, where are we? About 7 years now. So that's about $84,000 in principal pay down from another tenant and from myself initially. So if you kind of chalk that all together, I roughly made around $600,000 on this property, right? And it's been pretty passive. The same tenant is there. They're getting a great deal because they're only charging $3,900 a month in rent, and it's just breaking even. But if you were to buy this property at $1.3 million, your monthly all-in cost is probably about $12,000. So it's about 1/3 as cheap to rent versus to own or buy this home. So been a great tenant. They've been taking care of the property. They escalate issues, so it's been great, right? So that's how much I made for my first property. But to be honest, in the future, I am thinking of selling this property and maybe doing a 1031 exchange into another apartment complex, or using a 1031 exchange into my own primary residence, right? Because I want to own a home for myself, in Southern California, and I don't want to stress about the monthly payment because right now with these interest rates, it's high. So for me, my goal was always to have a paid off primary residence, or a very manageable monthly payment, including all expenses. So for me, that number is around 3 to 4 thousand, where I'm a little bit comfortable with. Anything like once you start to get that 7-8 thousand range, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. But that's how much I made through my first property. And like I said, I didn't necessarily buy the property that great. It was on Redfin. I literally just offered asking price, and at the time I didn't think I was getting a crazy deal, but just through the appreciation over time, especially during COVID, it went up a lot in value. And so to me, I was negative cash flow, at least initially, $600 a month, but because it was appreciating like roughly $100,000 every year, I could take that bullet, especially that I'm working a full-time W-2. But if I wasn't working a full-time W-2, then, at that point, it's hard to sustain that $600 a month in negative cash flow. You'd probably want to sell the property and then maybe like trade up to something that's more cash flow, right? So for example, I could use $600,000 to buy like maybe, let's say like six new builds in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, that maybe cash flow like, let's say $300 a month with these interest rates. So, it's $1,800 a month in cash flow. So, real estate's a long-term game. You just kind of buy real estate, and then, in California, since it's high cost living market, is high income earners, like long term, there's going to be natural appreciation. And, like I said, I can snowball this into buying another apartment complex in Oklahoma. I could snowball this into doing a large down payment for my future single family home. So, it's quite a journey. So hopefully you gain some value from this video. I want to do a series talking about all my properties that I own one at a time. And at the end, I'm going to do a video of how much money I make through all my entire real estate portfolio, right? So if you guys like the series, please put some comments down below. Please share this video with somebody. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.